The vastness of space was filled with the sounds of chaos as the Xylothan homeworld came under attack. Bright flashes of light exploded against the dark backdrop of the galaxy, painting a terrifying picture of destruction. Ships from the Krenth Empire, ruthless conquerors known for their brutality, descended like a swarm of locusts, leaving death and despair in their wake. The Xylothans, once proud and technologically advanced, now faced annihilation. Lyra stood on a high cliff overlooking the battlefield, her heart pounding in her chest. She was a skilled warrior, trained to protect her people, but in that moment she felt utterly powerless. She watched in horror as the Krenth ships unleashed their deadly weapons. Blasts of energy ripped through the atmosphere, tearing apart Xylothan ships that had once been symbols of their might. The cries of her fellow warriors echoed in her ears, drowning her thoughts in despair. As she gazed at the destruction below, memories flooded her mind. She remembered the stories of her ancestors, tales of bravery and honor. They spoke of a time when the Xylothans had explored the stars, forging alliances and sharing their knowledge. But those days were long gone. Now they were on the brink of extinction, abandoned by the very galaxy they had once called home. Determined not to give in to hopelessness, Lyra knew she had to act. With shaking hands, she activated her communicator. The device flickered to life, and she began to send out a distress signal. "To any who can hear this," she spoke, her voice trembling with fear, "this is Lyra of the Xylothan people. We are under attack by the Krenth Empire. We need help. Please, anyone, we beg you to assist us." Her words echoed in the stillness of space, a plea filled with desperation. But as she sent the signal, doubt crept into her heart. Would anyone answer? The galaxy had turned its back on the Xylothans long ago. They had always been seen as weak, despite their advanced technology and rich culture. Time and again, they had offered their assistance to other races, only to be met with rejection and disdain. Lyra felt the weight of her people's history pressing down on her. Could she be the one to change their fate? As the signal broadcasted into the emptiness, Lyra's thoughts shifted back to the battle unfolding below. The Krenth forces were relentless, their ships overwhelming in numbers and firepower. She could see the chaos. Xylothan ships desperately trying to fend off the attackers, their weapons firing in vain against the superior technology of the Krenth. The brilliant colors of energy blasts lit up the dark sky, contrasting sharply with the muted colors of her own people's craft, which were now damaged and faltering. Lyra's heart ached as she witnessed the destruction of her world. Families were torn apart, warriors fell bravely defending their homes, and the screams of the dying filled the air. She felt a surge of anger rise within her. How could they allow this to happen? How could the galaxy be so cruel? With every passing moment, the hope of survival slipped further away. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the ground beneath her feet, knocking her off balance. She stumbled but quickly regained her footing. Looking up, she saw a massive Krenth ship looming overhead, ready to unleash its firepower. Panic surged through her. She had to get back to her people and fight, even if the odds were against them. With renewed determination, Lyra raced down the cliff towards the battlefield, her mind racing with thoughts of her family and friends. They were counting on her, and she couldn't let them down. As she ran, she clutched her weapon tightly, ready to face whatever awaited her. But deep down, a lingering fear gnawed at her. What if they were truly alone? What if her distress signal never reached anyone? She pushed the thoughts aside. She had to believe that help would come. Even in the darkest of times, hope could be a powerful ally. As she joined the fray, Lyra fought with everything she had. Each blast from her weapon felt like a desperate plea for salvation. She couldn't bear to watch her people suffer any longer. She fought with the memory of her ancestors guiding her, determined to protect her home. The battle raged on, the fate of the Xylothans hanging by a thread. Lyra's heart raced as she fought valiantly, but in the back of her mind, she held on to a flicker of hope that perhaps, just perhaps, someone out there would hear their call for help. Back on Earth, in a high-tech military base known as Fortress Alpha, scientists and military personnel gathered around a large screen displaying a flickering distress signal. The atmosphere was charged with tension as they analyzed the message from the Xylothans. It was a small blue planet that had caught their attention in the depths of space. The image showed chaos and destruction, highlighting the dire situation the Xylothans faced against the Krenth Empire. As the distress signal played on repeat, Reyes couldn't shake the feeling of familiarity in the Xylothans' plea for help. Their plight mirrored his own experiences, abandoned and alone in a vast universe. The thought struck him hard, stirring emotions he had buried deep within. He was reminded of the times he had stood on the front lines, fighting for causes that seemed hopeless. How could he turn his back on those who were in desperate need? Just then, one of the scientists, a young woman named Dr. Sarah Lynn, broke the silence. "If we don't act now, the Xylothans could be wiped out completely. They deserve our help." Her voice resonated in the room, igniting a flicker of hope. Reyes felt a surge of determination. He knew he couldn't remain an observer any longer. Driven by a sense of duty and compassion, Reyes stepped forward, addressing the commanding officers. "We need to respond to this signal. The Xylothans may be our only chance to forge a new alliance. We can't ignore their suffering." His words carried the weight of his experiences, and he hoped they would resonate with the others. After a tense discussion, Reyes was able to convince the command to send a small fleet of ships to assist the Xylothans. The decision was met with a mixture of apprehension and hope. This was a chance for humanity to stand up against the Krenth Empire, to embrace the underdog theme that had defined so much of their own history. As the fleet prepared for launch, Reyes felt a sense of purpose that he hadn't felt in years. He was not just leading soldiers into battle, he was fighting for the survival of another race, one that needed allies now more than ever. The stakes were high, but he believed in the strength of unity. With determination in his heart, he watched as the ships powered up, ready to embark on their mission to help the Xylothans in their darkest hour. As the human fleet arrived at the Xylothan homeworld, the chaos of battle surrounded them. The atmosphere crackled with tension as the fleet executed complex cloaking maneuvers, rendering their ships nearly invisible to enemy scanners. Reyes watched with a sense of pride as the fleet moved seamlessly into position, preparing to engage the Krenth forces. The sight of their ships darting through the darkness, armed and ready, was a stunning display of human ingenuity and bravery. On the ground, the Xylothans were taken aback. Lyra, who had fought valiantly against the Krenth, could hardly believe her eyes as the human ships appeared. Their tactics were bold and innovative, unlike anything she had seen before. She had been prepared to defend her world alone, but now she felt a flicker of hope as the humans joined the fray. The sight of their ships cloaking and reappearing, launching attacks with precision, filled her with awe. However, trust did not come easily. In the heat of battle, as the two forces converged against the Krenth, a fierce skirmish erupted. Lyra found herself face to face with a group of advancing Krenth soldiers. Just as she was about to engage them, a human ship swooped down, firing its weapons and scattering the enemies. Lyra turned, expecting gratitude, but instead found a figure stepping onto the battlefield, Captain Reyes himself. Their initial encounter was tense. Lyra raised her weapon, ready to fight this new ally, while Reyes prepared to defend himself. They exchanged wary glances, each sizing the other up. Just then, a Krenth soldier lunged at Lyra, and in a split second, Reyes reacted, shooting the enemy down before Lyra could even think. Grateful yet startled, she realized they had to cooperate to survive. In the chaos, they found themselves fighting back to back, exchanging fire and fending off attackers. The bond between them began to form as they saved each other's lives, working as one against the common enemy. After a particularly intense moment where they both narrowly escaped a deadly blast, they paused to catch their breath. "I didn't expect help from humans," Lyra admitted, her voice slightly breathless. "Neither did I expect to be fighting alongside an alien," Reyes replied with a faint smile. "But I think we can do this together." As the battle continued, they began to communicate more, sharing bits of their cultures amid the chaos. Reyes shared stories about Earth, explaining their resilience and the spirit of cooperation that drove humanity to face greater threats. Lyra, in turn, told him about the Xylothans' history of exploration and their deep connection to the stars. They laughed about their different perspectives on food. Lyra found the concept of pizza fascinating, while Reyes was curious about Xylothan delicacies, which she described with enthusiasm. These light-hearted moments helped to ease the tension between them, allowing trust to grow. Reyes realized that the Xylothans were not the weak race he had initially thought. They were strong and determined, just as he had always been. Lyra discovered that humans were not the brutish fighters often portrayed by her people. They were courageous, willing to fight for others even when the odds seemed stacked against them. Together they continued to battle, building a bond forged in the fires of conflict. As they fought side by side, the humans and Xylothans began to see each other not as enemies, but as allies against a greater evil. The stakes were high, but with each moment of cooperation, they grew stronger, united in their fight for survival. With the battle against the Krynth Empire looming, the humans and Xylothans realized they needed to work together more than ever. In a makeshift command center on the Xylothan homeworld, Reyes and Lyra gathered their respective teams to strategize a counteroffensive. The air was thick with tension, but there was also an undercurrent of hope. This was their chance to turn the tide. Reyes laid out a plan on a large holographic display, showcasing the terrain and key enemy positions. He highlighted how they could use their advanced technology to their advantage. "We'll utilize cloaking devices to get close to the enemy ships undetected," he explained. "AI-assisted combat drones will provide us with real-time data on enemy movements, allowing us to strike when they least expect it." Lyra nodded, taking in his words. She quickly gathered her fellow Xylothans, who listened intently. Together, they began to prepare for battle, combining human tactics with Xylothan technology. Reyes worked tirelessly, training the Xylothan warriors in coordinated maneuvers and emphasizing the importance of teamwork. As they practiced together, the camaraderie grew, and a strong bond formed between the two races. Among the soldiers was Bonner, a beloved human who had earned respect and friendship from both the Xylothans and his own team. Bonner and Lyra developed a close friendship, sharing stories of their pasts and dreams for the future. Bonner's upbeat attitude and bravery inspired everyone around him. He often joked about their differences, lightening the mood during the long hours of training. But then tragedy struck during a training exercise. As they practiced a crucial maneuver, a sudden malfunction sent one of the drones spiraling toward Lyra. Without hesitation, Bonner leaped into action, pushing her out of harm's way just in time. The drone exploded upon impact, taking Bonner with it. The moment shattered the camaraderie and left everyone in stunned silence. Lyra knelt beside Bonner's lifeless body, tears streaming down her face. His sacrifice deepened the emotional stakes of their fight, making their mission personal. As the days passed, the Xylothans and humans mourned together, united by their shared loss. They honored Bonner's memory by dedicating the upcoming battle to him. The training sessions now carried a renewed sense of purpose, and the team pushed harder, fueled by the desire to honor their fallen friend. The day of the battle arrived, and both fleets took to the skies, ready to face the Krynth Empire. From their ships, they witnessed a breathtaking spectacle as they coordinated their assault. Orbital bombardment lit up the night sky with bright explosions, illuminating the dark void of space. The Xylothans deployed their advanced weaponry alongside the humans' combat drones, creating a dazzling display of firepower and strategy. As the two fleets moved as one, it was clear that their unity was their greatest strength. The humans' tactical skills blended seamlessly with the Xylothans' technological prowess, creating a formidable force against the Krynth. Each explosion marked a step closer to victory, each successful maneuver a testament to their teamwork. Together, they fought not just for survival, but for each other. The bond forged in the face of adversity turned them into a family, determined to protect one another and avenge their fallen comrade. In this battle, they were no longer just humans and Xylothans. They were allies bound by a common goal, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The time had come for the united forces of humans and Xylothans to launch their bold attack against the Krynth stronghold. As the two fleets moved into position, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and determination. This was their moment to prove that they could stand together against the oppressive might of their enemy. The battle commenced with a deafening roar as ships unleashed a barrage of firepower. Vivid explosions lit up the dark expanse of space, creating a dazzling display of lights. Human fighters swooped in, utilizing their cloaking devices to sneak past enemy defenses while Xylothan ships launched from their bases, brimming with energy and advanced weaponry. As the fleets clashed, the scene shifted to the ground, where the real struggle unfolded. The humans and Xylothans fought side by side in the narrow corridors of the Krenth stronghold, engaging in intense close-quarters combat. Soldiers swung their weapons, dodging blasts and parrying strikes as they moved through the chaotic environment. Lyra and Reyes led their teams with bravery, shouting commands and encouraging their comrades to push forward. The sounds of clashing metal, explosions, and battle cries filled the air, creating a cacophony of war. Every corner they turned presented new challenges. The Krenth were fierce fighters, their advanced technology giving them an edge, but the unity of the humans and Xylothans made them a formidable force. Lyra fought with determination, her skills honed in the heat of previous battles, while Reyes showcased his military training, blending human tactics with the agility of Xylothan combat styles. Together they became an unstoppable duo, inspiring those around them. As they advanced deeper into the stronghold, the tension built to a peak. They finally came face to face with the Krenth commander, a towering figure clad in imposing armor. His presence radiated authority and malice, but Lyra and Reyes stood their ground, ready to defend their people. The air crackled with anticipation as the two sides prepared for the ultimate confrontation. The battle was fierce, a true test of their resolve. Lyra and Reyes showcased their combined strengths, executing synchronized moves that overwhelmed the commander. They fought with everything they had, their memories of fallen friends and the desire for freedom fueling their every action. The clash of their weapons echoed like thunder, each strike a testament to their unyielding spirit. In a dramatic turn of events, the fight reached a critical moment. Lyra, realizing that the only way to defeat the commander was to sacrifice herself, made a bold decision. She shouted to Reyes to hold the line, urging him to continue the fight for their people. With a fierce determination, she charged at the commander, distracting him long enough for Reyes to deliver the final blow. The commander fell, defeated, marking a significant victory for the united forces. As the dust settled and the last echoes of battle faded, the remaining Krenth soldiers surrendered, their spirits crushed. The victory was not just over the enemy, but also a triumph of good over evil. Lyra's ultimate sacrifice resonated deeply with everyone. The humans and Xylothans stood together, realizing their potential as allies. In that moment, they understood that despite their differences, their unity was their greatest strength. As they looked at one another, a sense of hope filled the air. Together, they had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. The bond they forged in battle would last a lifetime, marking the beginning of a new era for both races, one where they could stand together against any threat that might arise in the galaxy. Their victory symbolized not just survival, but the power of friendship, cooperation, and the belief that together they could overcome anything. With the Krenth Empire defeated, a new dawn broke over the Xylothan homeworld. The remnants of the fierce battle were still visible, but the atmosphere buzzed with hope and determination. The Xylothans, led by their warriors, began the process of rebuilding their civilization, and they were not alone. Humans, led by Captain Reyes, had committed to helping their new allies recover from the destruction. As the Xylothans cleared away debris and started to repair their cities, Reyes and Lyra walked through the remnants of what was once a thriving center of their culture. The sight of their shattered buildings and the emotional scars of their people weighed heavily on their hearts. Lyra, with her fierce spirit, addressed her people, promising them that they would rise from the ashes of their defeat. Reyes stood by her side, proud to support her, and together they encouraged the Xylothans to envision a brighter future. Both Reyes and Lyra took a moment to reflect on their incredible journey. They remembered the sacrifices that had been made along the way, the loss of friends like Bonner, and the struggles they endured together. These memories filled them with a mix of sadness and strength. Lyra spoke about Bonner, remembering how his bravery had inspired them all. They realized that while the pain of loss would always linger, it also forged unbreakable bonds of friendship and unity. As they worked alongside each other, humans and Xylothans learned from one another. The Xylothans shared their advanced technology, while the humans taught them new tactics and strategies for defense. This exchange of knowledge created a solid foundation for their new alliance, a partnership built on trust and mutual respect. Together, they shared laughter and stories, growing closer as they rebuilt homes and communities. The conclusion of the battle marked not just the end of one conflict, but the beginning of many new adventures. The two races prepared for potential threats lurking in the shadows of the galaxy. As they stood together looking out over the reconstruction efforts, they felt a sense of excitement and determination. Reyes and Lyra knew that challenges would arise, but they were ready to face them side by side. Their alliance symbolized a powerful message. Even those deemed weak could rise up to become strong allies when they united against tyranny. The narrative ended on a hopeful note as they planned their future together. With a mix of anticipation and courage, they looked to the stars, ready to explore new worlds, build new friendships, and confront whatever might come their way. The bond they created would not just change their destinies, but also reshape the galaxy itself. Together they had proven that true strength comes from unity. And as the sun rose over the horizon, it illuminated a future filled with promise and adventure.